All right. So normally I have a very fancy introduction that I do that talks about what the movie is in some kind of cool or mysterious way. But this week I just needed to get the intro done and I did not have time to write it. And as you can tell, it's already late. You're getting this on Tuesday. You should have gotten it yesterday. Just keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Please keep me in your thoughts and prayers. This week's movie is Normal. I'm Ronald Young Jr. and I'm leaving the theater. All right, this is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after seeing Normal. Normal, written by Derek Kolstad, directed by Ben Wheatley, starring Bob Odenkirk, Henry Winkler, Lena Headey, Reena Jolly, and as usual, for a complete listing of the cast and crew, you can go to the link in our show notes. It is just me today. Normal is a film that is billed as from the creators of John Wick, who is the writer Derek Kolstad, who also did Nobody 1 and 2. He wrote the first 3 John Wicks. And of course, the connection here is Bob Odenkirk, who was in Nobody 1 and 2, is now in this one, Normal, which I think is a little bit of brand confusion. And that is an in name. And it is Bob Odenkirk in yet another action movie. And the premise is that Bob Odenkirk is a sheriff in the town of Normal, small town USA. I don't remember what state it was in, but he's in Normal, and in Normal, everybody is doing their thing. It's a small town. They found out a way to manage themselves in this small town. And in this small town, for some reason, they are all flush with cash. Everybody's making it work. One of the bits of narration we get from Odenkirk early in the movie is that despite what the rest of the country is going through, Normal is seemingly able to thrive. The movie opens with some bits about the Yakuza and how there's a Yakuza connection to Normal. And what we find out later is that this Yakuza connection and this outsider sheriff, Bob Odenkirk, who was the interim sheriff in Normal at the time for 8 weeks while they pick a replacement, he is now in opposition to what Normal wants, which is to take the percentage of their goods from the Yakuza and continue having their small town life, no matter what the cost. And the cost tends to be at human lives of people caught in the crossfire, including this interim sheriff. You have Bob Odenkirk, who comes from a dark past, who is essentially running. That's why he's taking this temporary sheriff job first in Normal, and it's indicated that he had done it in another place. And so he has been doing it from place to place because he's trying to outrun the air quote sins of his past. And I think a lot of what's going on here is that the reason why they selected him is because he's a guy who's like, my name's Bennett, I'm not in it. He doesn't want to be a part of anything else that's going on. Bob Odenkirk was the right selection for that part of the role. I would say there, again, brand confusion because he is playing a lot of action roles recently. So turning this on, it's called Normal. He's everyman. And also he is to be a one-man army. If you watched the trailers, that's essentially what he ends up being. And that's basically the bulk of the movie. It's not a long movie. It's 90 minutes. And overall, I think it's pretty good. I think I liked it for the most part. I do have a few quibbles. I think in a lot of ways, this movie is Hot Fuzz meets Assault on Precinct 13 meets 30 Days of Night, in that there's a snowstorm and there is gun warfare going from one part of this town to another. It's basically him against other police officers, which gives Assault on Precinct 13, and the whole town is in on it, which gives Hot Fuzz. So all in a blender. I really like Bob Odenkirk. I liked his scenes with Lena Headey, who is criminally underused in this film. She's great with Odenkirk. There's real chemistry. They use her to get more backstory out of him. That's really good. And I realized the reason why you get Odenkirk is because he does such a good job with this dark past monologue. He's very good at playing a good guy who maybe has some demons or something going on in the back of his mind. The bad is that there was a lot of ways in which the score, which was very serious, was working against the more comedic bits. There's an instance in which a person gets an ear shot off. I know this is meant to be funny. There's interactions between the sheriffs and the townspeople that's meant to be funny, but they have this very serious score happening in the background, which I think undercuts the parts of it that are supposed to be laugh out loud funny, that we're supposed to be having a good time at. Even some of the dialogue, because of what's going on, it doesn't come off as funny as it could. You either need, there's something about the humor that is in something like John Wick that is delivered in silence, or it's delivered with a look that Keanu Reeves gives, but it is typically not undercut by a score, or it's working along with the score, meaning that if it's sped up, if you're falling downstairs, then the score is working with you falling down the stairs. If you're throwing if you're throwing knives, a knife after knife after knife after knife, the score is working with you. If you keep getting thrown through glass, the score again is working with you. This one, it does not seem like the score is working along with the action that I'm actually seeing on the screen. It's a little messy and it's strangely paced, meaning that, again, for a 90-minute movie, I feel like you have a chance to make some things seem, make it seem like some things are amiss, and then you speed it up, and then maybe you slow it down just a little bit, and then you speed it up all the way to the end. You only got 90 minutes. This isn't rocket science in this case. You shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. And it feels like they're reinventing the wheel in a lot of ways. It feels like not reinventing the wheels, but it seems like they kind of forgot the basics of making a film like this, which is just, I mean, you put the heat on, you let it keep going, and you hustle to the end. That's what it is. I just said it. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's not what they do here. It slows down a bit. There's more backstory given, and I think the first 30 minutes are way slower than they should be. I almost feel like if this had been 1 hour of a television show in terms of setup, where should we be at the end of 44 minutes? By the end of 44 minutes, I mean, you have 8 other episodes, so it's going to be a lot slower. When you only have 90 minutes, by the end of 20 minutes, we should be deep into having our senses perked. What's going on? Is this mystery unfolding? And if you're going to be slow in the first 30 minutes when there's only an hour left, especially as the action's beginning to build and, I mean, stuff's about to go down, then I feel like you really have to consider what is this for? What story have we told here? And in the first 30 minutes, I remember looking at my watch and being like, man, we better hasten along. We don't have much longer to go. And we've only just now gotten to, who is this person? Who is the former sheriff's child? So yeah, I think overall a, pretty good film. And it goes off the rails a bit towards the end, not because of the acting. All of the actors, I feel like, clocked in and did their job. They did what was in the script. I think editing and sequencing was a bit of an issue. This was a film I saw after seeing Protector, and there was a few issues where I was like, okay, some of this is a little bit amateurish in terms of how they're sequencing this together, what the scene looks like, the decisions of just the efficiency of filming an action sequence. There was one in particular in which a sign falls and kills a person. We know it's going to happen. We see it coming. And they milk it in a way that I thought, hey, as soon as we seen that sign wobble, and as soon as we see that this guy needs to be taken out, that as far as I'm concerned, this should already be happening. Like the next thing I should see is a sign hitting this person. As a matter of fact, or it should wobble and I should forget that the sign wobbled, and then later it goes and hits that guy. But it wobbled, and we see it wobble again, and we know it's going to hit this guy, and then it does. And I remember thinking, I wonder how that worked in editing, or what was the discussion they had when they made that scene. That being said, this movie it's April, and this is pre-blockbuster season, so it's getting a little warm. Maybe you want to be outside. Maybe you want to go out of your house and do an activity. This is a good movie for that. This is a good little date night movie. If you're picking an action movie, this is a good date night movie to get you warmed up for the heavy hitters that are about to come in the next couple of weeks, whether at the end of April into May, as we enter blockbuster season. With all that being said, it's a 3-star movie, solid 3-star. At one point, I thought it could have been a 4-star movie in the first act. Then it dropped down to 3.25, and then it dropped down to 3, and I knew it couldn't get any lower than a 3 because I did enjoy it. It was fine. If it was on, I'd watch it. I'd watch the rest of it. I think I would watch this movie 2 or 3 times. I would not watch it more than 3 times. After the 3rd time, I'd be like, let's watch Assault on Precinct 13 or Hot Fuzz or 30 Days of Night. But this one, maybe I've had enough. Maybe the fact, and it's not necessarily that it is eminently derivative of those, but enough so that I would rather watch a better version of that than watch this, or go back and watch Nobody, which actually don't even remember the plot. I just know that Bob Odenkirk is a family man that can also kill. So with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of Oh, It's Big Ron Studios. I mixed this episode, and by the time you're hearing this, there have been many, many episodes of Leaving the Theater in between the end of this 3-day 4-movie marathon. Again, Wednesday, it was Project Hail Mary. Thursday, it was Hoppers and then Protector. It is now Friday, and I just saw Normal. I've seen countless movies between then and now, according to your ears, according to what you've heard in the feed. But this was enough work to get me a little bit ahead, meaning that I've had some time to rest in between editing this show and working on Heartbreaker, working on... this is Leaving the Theater, working on Wait For It, and any of the side projects that I do to make money and keep doing other work. I say all that to say that this is a bit of work. It's a bit of labor. I'm a little bit tired. I still have other things to do tonight. I'm going to my friend Marcus's comedy show, and tomorrow I'm going to see more movies, this time just for fun. I'm not recording anything. I'm just going to watch them and say to myself, rather than record anything about them. I'm not going to make content with those. I'm just going to enjoy them. So that's 4 days of movie watching. My life is a lot of work. Doing this job is a lot of work. And if you enjoy these reviews and you get this far and you hear this pitch and you still have not joined the Patreon, I would encourage you to do so. Joining the Patreon, you get access to a number of extra features. I will not list them all right now. You can jump into the Patreon and see them. But most importantly, you help shows like this to exist. You are supporting independent media. You're supporting one independent media maker. If that means something to you, go to patreon.com/ohitsbigron or go to the link in our show notes. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about Normal, check out our show notes. You can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, Threads, or Letterboxd at ohitsbigron. That's at OHITSBIGRON. You can find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studio shows by following us on Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm throwing knives. a knife after knife after knife after knife.